want to welcome you back to Black Site, and we're going to talk about the ADOS movement and the reparations movement back in America today. And we're talking about the government paying us trillions of dollars of what they have done to our ancestors. They have a debt to be repaid, but they're not the only ones that have to be repaid debt. The ones that have to be repaid debt is people like Brooke Brothers, who, if you know, is a huge clothing company who supplied clothes for slaves. We have insurance companies like New York Life. We have banks like JP Morgan Chase, Wachovia. We have trains like Norfolk Southern. All these companies should have lawsuits filed against them for repayment of what they have done during slavery. This is not just going to be a hit on the United States government. Oh yes, we're going after the banks, the insurance company, clothing companies, anyone who had something to do with slavery. Even USA Today had something to do with slavery. They were owned by E.W. Scripps Howard. So not only the trillions of dollars owed by this government, but we have several billions of dollars that will be owed by these banks, insurance companies, newspapers, clothing companies, universities that owe us when it comes to reparations. The ADOS movement, yes, will start with the United States government first because they sanction slavery. But when it comes to everyone else, they will have to also pay a debt to this community. They will not be able to escape the punishment which is richly deserved, that they will have to come out their pockets and calculate how much they owe this community. When I mentioned some of these companies like JP Morgan Chase, Wachovia, USA Today, Norfolk Southern, New York Life, these companies are huge, and they were built on the backs of slavery. So when we take them to court, finally, and receive billions of dollars in payment, and this is why you got a guy writing for the Wall Street Journal making up issues like, who are we going to pay? Well, Barack Obama was president, and he was the first black president. He shouldn't get because he's not ADOS. Basically, how are we to determine? We could determine it by ancestry. Hell no, Barack Obama don't deserve payment for slavery. Neither one of his parents was ADOS. He's just a black man. But we will finally get to the bottom of this issue and how these companies were able to become trillion-dollar companies like JP Morgan Chase, Wachovia, off the backs of slavery. So it's time that they come back to the community and cut us a check that we deserve. I have to give the Jewish community much credit because they have also given us a roadmap to how we should do this. Because not only a few years ago, maybe about 5 to 10 years ago, they went to some of the companies who helped in the extermination of Jews in Germany. They went to some of those banks. They went to some of those railroad companies, and they asked and got reparations. for the Holocaust. And I think they may be still receiving reparations for the Holocaust. They also went after the country of Switzerland. And you know about their banks. You know Switzerland is a neutral country. They went in there and got reparations from some of those banks. So we will be consistent, not only with going after the United States government first, but going after these banks and financial institutions that still remain today. And that should pay us what we rightfully deserve. Oh, this is going to be a battle. And just because we're asking for this, it's got a lot of people across this country kind of scared. Because I believe if we go to court, we will win these cases. Because a lot of these cases have been adjudicated across the world, saying that these companies owe us this money and we should be paid. This is why they got so many of their so-called bootlickers and sellouts trying to knock down the ADOS movement, because they know that they have to repay a debt. And the debt is going to be extremely high to the American descendants of slaves. See, no one will respect you in this world unless you got to pay them. They will finally respect us when they have to cut them checks. See, first the government, first these banks and these financial institutions. They have to pay for their crimes. And if they don't pay for their crimes, you're basically saying it was okay what they did to black folks. This is going to be a tough fight. But it seems like we're breaking through. You got to give Tone Talks, Yvette Carnell, people like Tariq Nasheed, Professor Black Truth, all of these people credit for pushing and fighting to move this movement forward and getting what we rightfully deserve when it comes to reparations. I want to thank you for listening to Black Site Underground News that you can use. I hope you subscribe to this channel. Please smash that like button and share this video.